Today on Singles Court, Edgar's a broker and Tess thinks he's closing deals on the side.
He's open to it. He allows them to kind of come on to him and he doesn't rebuff them the way he should be rebuffing them.
His flirting is hurting and Tess wants him to fess up.
All I want before we go further is for him to confess, then we can deal with it and move on.
And she had mail once and she wants it again.
Our connection was very intense via the words that we expressed.
He says real-time wooing is better than online cooing.
We aren't confined through computer internet anymore.
Why can't you do that?
Those are just words.
What do you mean?
Hello and welcome to Singles Court, the #1 show on the Singles Broadcast Network. And there's a very good reason why, and it's this lovely lady right over here, relationship mediator Angela Siegel.
Hi, Michael.
Do you know that you are dressed as my favorite cocktail today?
What would that be?
A pink
Black
lady. No, you don't speak Russian, come on. Okay, do you want to know the scoop on our next group of singles we have here today?
That'd be nice.
Okay, well, please meet Edgar, who is a broker, and Tess is a lady who knows about cocktails. She's a bartender. Now, they've been together for over 2 years. However, Tess is a little tired of enduring the flirtation that Edgar constantly gets from the ladies and feels now that he is, in fact, cheating on her. I'll let them give you the sordid details, but I call this the case of your cheating heart is breaking mine.
No or?
No or today.
Okay. Well, Tess, seems as though you're having some issues with the flirtatious women.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's constant. It's been like this ever since we started dating. He knows it drives me up a wall, and no matter what I tell him, he refuses to change his behavior.
Okay, but the women are, from what you're saying, the women are flirting with him.
Completely.
So, what is he, I mean, how could he stop somebody from flirting with him?
Well, he buys into it. He allows them to go further than they normally would because he's open to it. He allows them to kind of come on to him and he doesn't rebuff them the way he should be rebuffing them.
Edgar, is this true?
It's not true at all.
Okay, well, give me your side of it. Because obviously it's been an issue.
Huge.
Well, it's an issue with her, yeah.
Well, okay.
Well, basically what's happening is I'm just not being rude. I mean, these women are, you know, I'm a polite person. I mean, yeah, I can see it. I can see the flirtation happening, but that's all it is flirtation.
Oh, you see, he says it's only flirtation. I just know it goes further than that.
Okay, but give me an example.
I work at a singles bar. It's a really, really busy club, and he'll come in to visit me at the beginning of a shift or towards the end of a shift, and he waits for me at the end of the bar, and bam, swarmed with tons of women all over him, buying him drinks which I get to mix for him. And does he say, no, you know, great, thanks so much, but my girlfriend, the bartender, no. He just lets them come all over him, buy him the drinks, chats them up, smiles, phone numbers.
Oh, I mean, you can see that it upsets her, Edgar. Now, if women are coming on to you, tons of women buying you drinks, I mean, that's a pretty good situation for a guy.
Well, yeah, everybody likes that type of,
hey, free drinks are free drinks.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's all. That's it. That's all it is.
Oh, it's so more than that.
Wait a minute. When it's detrimental to the relationship, then you have to think about it. Is there ever a time when you turn down a drink?
No. Well, I think this has been overly exaggerated. This doesn't happen that. It doesn't happen that often. I mean,
okay, how often does it happen?
Once in a while, I'll come in and I'll get a drink. It's not like every time I go to pick her up or I walk in, it's like women are flocking to me and they're buying
me whatever. So I
me
put on his jacket when I want to take the dog out for a walk. I reach into the pockets and there are matchbooks with names and numbers on them. There's pieces of paper jammed into the pockets. All I want
Edgar. Okay, the phone. Okay, I can see you can't stop somebody from flirting with you.
No.
I understand that. Believe me, I do. But when it comes down to giving the drink, accepting the drink, giving the phone number, accepting the phone number. I mean, how do you defend yourself?
It's just, it's harmless flirtation. I mean, it feels good. I mean, I love this woman. I'm not going to do it.
Wait a minute, let's back up. Rewind. Okay. It feels good. Do you hear what he's saying, Tess?
totally hear what he's saying. And what drives me insane is that I know it's going deeper than that. I know he has seen other people or is seeing other people. All I want before we go further is for him to confess, then we can deal with it and move on.
But how do you know? You're saying you know it's going further.
I see it every day in my
you
bar.
See what?
I see the behavior of people who come in.
Of what people? Other people.
Other people.
Not him.
I've seen him at my bar. I have seen him lead the women on.
What has he done at your bar?
He has said yes to them all. To the buying the drinks, to the yes, I can take your phone number. He doesn't wear a ring, so therefore people assume he is single.
Well, he is. I mean, you're not married.
No, we're living together. We're in a committed relationship.
I didn't know buying a drink is constituted as
He's
an
not
affair.
up on the bar dirty dancing with them, is he?
Yeah, but how do I know that? I believe that you are.
You weren't there. I mean, what has he done? I mean, you're giving things that you think are happening.
Look, I see people cheating all the time.
Look, I am not.
Well, here's a question. What have you seen concrete with your own eyes, heard with your own ears, that would lead you to believe that he's doing more than what you think he's doing? You found the numbers. You know that someone bought him a drink. What other concrete things has he done?
I feel it. I know that people are cheating, and there's no reason for me to believe that he is not cheating.
I am not other people.
No, but I mean, if everyone does, I've done it, so there's no reason that you couldn't have been doing it.
What?
Hello, kitty.
Why don't you play You Dropped the Bomb on me?
I'll cue it up.
All I'm saying.
No.
Well,
let's ask Edgar. Edgar, did you hear what she said?
Yeah, I did.
She did, therefore you do? How do you feel about that?
How do I feel? You've basically taken something and turned it right around. You're blaming me for cheating on you, and you just told us that you're doing it to me. What is this about?
Yeah, Tess, what is this about?
It's about the fact that because he was doing it to me, I thought it would be easier for me to see what it was like, go out and get it over with.
Oh, come on. Now that's stupid.
Well, it might be stupid, but the fact of the matter is, how is it for me to be with someone who makes me feel invisible and like a piece of dirt while every other woman is the most important woman in the world to him when he is with them?
Tess, listen, here's the question, okay? Now, we know life is about choices. You chose to be with him.
Completely.
Now, why don't you take responsibility for what you did? Explain to us why you had a relationship outside of your relationship.
It wasn't so much a relationship as a one-off experience with a coworker who I no longer work with because I was always so upset by your behavior whenever we were together, and I had somebody I could talk to who understood how I felt, who made me feel like I was the most important person in the world, which you do not make me feel.
So because he didn't make you feel that way, it was okay for you to sleep with somebody else?
Oh, I'm not saying it was okay. I'm
well,
saying,
what are you saying?
I thought for sure that he was seeing other people, and therefore I thought if he would confess, then I could tell him.
You had no evidence. You didn't even know if that was true.
Edgar, now that you know that she's cheated on you, is it okay now for you to, I mean, have you cheated on her?
No, I haven't.
Michael, have you cheated on anybody?
Not lately.
I mean, was that the environment that you wanted? I cheat, you cheat, therefore we all cheat?
Of course it's not what I wanted.
Well, no, not of course. Well, then tell me what it is you wanted. What was the purpose? You did this for what?
I don't know. I wanted to feel that I was actually the one who was viable, who was wanted, who was adored, that somebody thought I was worth being with, because you don't make me feel like I am worth being with when we're together.
If I make you feel this, then why have you been with me for so long? Why have you put up with it?
Because I love you.
Well, here's my question to you, Tess. Did it work? Do you feel that way now?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. So obviously it wasn't exactly the best way to go about it, was it?
Well, no, and then, everything hits the fan, and what have I done? It's all my fault, and we have no relationship.
Wah, wah, wah. I'll be back with my resolution. This case is another story of I thought, therefore I did. Doesn't make any sense. Tess, you know what you did was wrong. You don't need me to tell you that. I'm more concerned with the motivation behind what you did. No one is responsible for making you feel whole. That's your responsibility. And trying to blame somebody else for your decisions just because they made you feel one way or the other is ludicrous. It's ultimately your responsibility to be whole, and no one else can add that to you to make you a whole person. You have to be responsible for Tess, and you have to be responsible for making yourself feel good about the decisions you make. On the other hand, Edgar, I mean, it's enviable to be in a position where women are buying you drinks and giving you phone numbers. But when you're in a relationship, you have a responsibility to refuse the drinks and throw away the numbers. You know, relationships are really about both people making an effort. And in this case, both of you were what I call extremely casual. You, Edgar, were casual about the way you handled her feelings, casual about the fact that you accepted drinks and numbers, and you, on the other hand, Tess, were casual about your sex life and whether or not you would decide to become involved with, in what you termed, wasn't really your relationship. So basically, if you look at the whole relationship and look at what you all are trying to achieve, I'd call it a flat-out dead casualty. In other words, it's over, dead to the wind, buried, and pushing up daisies. As far as I can see, I would say bye-bye, head back to the bar, pick up more phone numbers. And that's that, in black and white.
Next on Singles Court, she had mail once and she wants it again.
Our connection was very intense via the words that we expressed.
He says real-time wooing is better than online cooing.
We aren't confined through computer internet anymore.
Why can't you do that?
Those are just words.
What do you mean?
Are you seated comfortably? Good, because Singles Court is back with relationship mediator Angela Siegel.
Hi, Michael.
How's your seat there? Good?
Yeah, comfortable.
Okay, then we'll get on with it.
Thank you.
In our studio today, we have two singles who have issues. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here. This is Stephen. Stephen's a carpenter, and this is Janine, who is a legal secretary. They met a few months ago floating around in cyberspace, and they've since met in the real world and have kicked it off, and it's gone very well, except Janine misses the romance of the internet. I'll let them explain it better, but I call this the case of email.
Well, Janine, it sounds like the internet's been good to you. So tell me what the problem is.
Well, actually, Stephen and I met online in a chat room on the internet, and I was very taken by him because he was so sensitive, and the strength of his poetry really made me gravitate to want to get to know him. And it's kind of out of character for me to do something like that, but I was just trusting, well, to go in a chat room and meet someone that way via cyberspace. But I was trusting my intuition with him. We met online and had this wonderful connection, and it was just inspiring to me to be connected to someone that way.
Okay, so, yeah, you, Stephen, the other person standing there.
Yeah, the moment that we met, I mean, there was just this instant connection.
Okay, well, let's go back to when you were chatting in the chat room, because she was taken aback by, you know, everything that you had to say, and when we say that with quotation marks, that you had to type. She was impressed.
Well, you know, when that physical connection that people have, that's when things really came together for me.
Okay, so that's when you counted it. Up until then, it was just a chat.
Right.
Okay, the physical thing was the real deal, basically.
Oh, absolutely. The second she walked into the restaurant, there was this connection between us. I mean, as cliche as it sounded, it was like love at first sight.
It does sound cliche.
Oh.
Would you agree with that, though?
No, actually, our connection was very intense via the words that we expressed through emails, and that's the reason why I wanted to meet him, and we both agreed to do that.
So you felt the intensity before you actually saw him?
Oh, absolutely.
You felt the intensity once you saw him. Okay, there's a little difference, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Okay, difference in stories. Okay, so now you've met him, so you do like him. So it's been 3 months.
Well, we decided to meet at a restaurant, and I went in, and he stood up, and I knew immediately. He smiled, and I knew immediately that it was him. So it was a very instant attraction for me as well, physically. I mean, he was tanned and tall and handsome, and I was immediately connected. It was quite wonderful.
So that to you was like a compliment for what you already had
before?
Absolutely.
Okay. It just intensified it.
And when you saw her?
When I saw her, there was this woman who walked in through the door in this long red dress, and she had this sparkle in her eyes, and I just said, I knew she was the one. I knew that she was the right person for me.
I may have dozed off a little while back, but what's the problem here? This sounds great.
Well, the problem for me really is that I miss the online poetry that we had together in the beginning of our relationship.
Okay, so why don't you write us some poetry? I mean, that's not hard.
I mean, that's like regressing. The poetry was a way for a person to express themselves when they don't have that physical connection.
Really?
I express myself now because I can touch her, I can hold her, kiss her, and verbally tell her how I feel.
Okay, but if you're writing this poetry that was good, I mean, really must be good enough to like knock her off her feet before she even sees you. Why would that not be an extension of your personality?
Because my personality now allows me to freely pick her up and sweep her off her feet and carry her wherever. I can do whatever I want physically. It isn't, we aren't confined through computer internet anymore.
Okay. So do you understand, from his perspective, he feels as though the poetry is confining, whereas he's liberated because now I can sweep you off your feet and do the nasty. And so explain to me, I mean, obviously you don't see it like that. So what do you say when he says that to you?
Well, what I say is the person that I met 3 months ago, who I was connecting with, had a soul. There was a soul that I connected to with him on the internet that I don't have anymore, and it was through that writing. And I have some here actually.
Did he ever say the phrase "do the nasty" in his poems? I'm just curious.
Michael.
That was after we met. No, he actually had written this. I take this stuff to work with me. I printed it off because I read it on my coffee breaks. It's incredible.
How about reading it now?
Okay. I used to dream of flying, of soaring over the earth's surface, and now I dream of you. Your body's soft motion dancing like warm winds across the savannah, caressing with soft kisses.
And that's exactly
That's
how
what
I
started
feel.
it for me.
Okay, but here's my question, because that's like so important to her. So if it's so important to her, why would you not do it, even if it's a step back for you?
It just doesn't seem right. Our relationship actually started when we
No, it doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right that somebody that could write that type of poetry could turn around and just turn it off and never be able to write it again.
Right.
It doesn't seem right. You're right. It doesn't. And you know what? I don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to have to ask you now, why can't you do that?
Why would I have to? Now we have
Because she's
together.
asking you to, and you said that you care about her and love at first sight. And remember, those were your cliche words. So if that's the case,
and it's true. It's all true.
so why can't you write her the poetry that she asked? How hard is that?
To write poetry, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me when I can look at her and I can kiss her and I can touch her.
It's something that I care about.
You know what?
It's something that...
Have you ever heard the word bull? Because that's what comes to mind. Because something's not adding up here. Did you write that poetry?
Those are just words.
What do you mean just words?
Are they
What are you getting at?
words, though?
Some guy wrote this stuff. Okay,
Some
what does
guy?
it mean? What does it
This
mean?
guy
So they're not your
was
words.
you.
I'm just saying they're words
Talk to
that
me,
allow
talk
people.
to me. Did you, no.
The second
Question,
that her and I,
question. Did you write that poetry?
they're just words that some guy wrote. Okay.
What? Not you.
Would it make a difference? I mean,
Yes. I was going to ask you. Yes, it makes a difference.
what counts here is the moment that we connect.
You know what? You're going to have a computer in the wrong place if you don't chill. I asked you a question, and you never answered it. Did you write that poetry? That's yes or no.
All I know is that
I heard no in there. I heard no in there.
Janine, okay, you see what you have here is someone who didn't write the poetry that you cared so much about.
What I have here is a liar. I can't believe this.
I never ever said that I wrote the poetry.
What did you say?
I didn't. When she walked into that room that night, I could have been anybody.
You were. Somebody else than what you
But
said
I never,
you were.
I never ever
along
went
with
over
the
her and said that I
story.
was the poetry. I just went over and I met and we connected
But
and
we
hit it
talked
off.
about this almost for
Janine.
the entire evening.
Let me ask you a question. Who you have here is different than who you thought you had.
Absolutely.
So the question to you
That's
is,
not true.
the question to you is, do you like who you have here?
I don't like a liar. I don't like knowing that he produced this lie to get me to stay with him. I feel really had here. This is ridiculous.
I feel the same way. We've all been had. I'll be back with my resolution. You know, it's a scary thing when you ask one question and get a whole story. Janine, don't shy away from the internet. It can be a wonderful thing. It allows people to expand the geographical boundaries that they would impose upon themselves. So it's not the internet that's your problem. So don't shy away from that. That can be a good thing. You have to look at what you have. And with all situations, sometimes you get more, sometimes you get less. In this case, you got less. Stephen, you know, I can't think of a better word for you except a snake. Because just like a snake, basically what you did was you slithered into a position that was to your benefit, made your way in, and stayed there because it was comfortable. That's what snakes do. And you had every opportunity to say, I'm not the person you're looking for, but I'd like to meet you. You had plenty of opportunity. You chose not to do that. You chose not to let her know who you really were. You know, in every relationship, there's always a situation where if you start in the hole, you have to dig your way up. And what happens is that distance a lot of times is just too far. And in this case, the distance is just, you'll never get out of the hole. You know, if you think about this relationship, you have to say, who would want a relationship with a snake? He slithers from one side to the other. And remember that if in fact you do decide to have a relationship with a snake, remember, a snake can never stand on its own 2 feet. And that's that in black and white.
Well, there it is. When it comes to relationships, 2 spirits makes a cocktail, but 2 wrongs don't make a right. And if you're gonna tell lies, well, your nose may grow, but that doesn't make you Cyrano de Bergerac. I learned that much from the sister with the solutions, Angela Siegel. Love you.
Yeah.
Join us next time here at Singles Court, the final word for singles.